Do you have the gift of gab and like talking about interesting topics? Are you often called opinionated by your friends and family? Then come to Anchor where you can be all of the above and get paid for it. Along with being one of the easiest systems to create contact with, Anchor supplies everything you need and can be used from your smartphone or computer. They even distribute your content for you so that you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Just download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Hello, Internet family. This is Anjanette Potter, also known as Adam's Rib, and you are listening to the Out and About movie review. So tonight I just got in from looking at a very excellent film that really didn't seem to get much TV advertisement. So the name of the film is the Forever Purge. And it is the sixth film in the Purge franchise. So if you don't know, let me give you a little bit of background here. The Purge franchise, The Purge was an American anthology media franchise. That's what it turned out to be. The original film was centered on what they call dystopian. Dystopian is the opposite of utopian. Action horror films distributed by Universal Pictures and produced by Blumhouse Productions and Platinum Dunes, which are written. The films were written and directed by James DeMonico, who was inspired by a Star Trek original series episode called The Return of the Archons. The films present a seemingly normal, crime-free America in the near future, but the truth is that the country is dystopic, which celebrates an annual national holiday known as the Purge, a day in which all crime, including murder, becomes legal for a 12-hour period. So that was the idea behind the original film, which I got to see on cable. I wound up watching it I saw the original Purge, and it was 2013. I don't remember if I saw Purge Anarchy or not. I didn't see the election year. I saw the first Purge, which was a prequel about the initial idea behind the Purge. And if you are a person of color, I would highly recommend that you see it, because it is, excellent too. The ones that I've seen, I have been happy with, and tonight's was no exception. There also was a TV series, which I never watched because I'm not a real fan of TV series based on films. They just usually don't wind up being as good as the film. So tonight's was called the Forever Purge. And to give you now the original, let me see here. I'm not going to go into that information there, but unless you've been under a rock, and I don't think you have been, maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. I just thought it was an interesting concept for a film to talk about, letting crime be not be a crime for at least 12 hours. I personally would probably try my level best to be out of the country during them 12 hours and wouldn't come back until they were over with. So the Forever Purge is based around that concept, just like the rest of them. Each purge seemed to have a central idea based on the climate in the country during that time. And I'll give an example. The Purge election year, they kind of centered around, a presidential election. And from what I was told, because I didn't get to see that one, I may go ahead and see it. There were similarities to the Trump election when the first time he ran. And so a lot of people were drawing connections to those two films. So this one I thought was interesting. This one was supposed to be released in, let me see here. This particular one was supposed to be released in July 2020 and was delayed because of COVID-19. So it wound up being released this month in July 2021. So give a little bit more information. The music was done by a group called the Newton Brothers. If I can find them on Spotify, I will put that out there. It was written by James DeMonico, like I said, directed by Everardo Gout, produced by Jason Blum, Michael Bay, Andrew Form, Brad Fuller, James DeMonico, and Sebastian K. LeMercier. It was starred Anna Della Reguera, Tinoch Herrera, Josh Lucas, Cassidy Freeman, Levin Rambin, Alejandro Eda, and Will Patton. So let me see here. So most of the cast in this particular film were kind of newcomers. The acting was excellent. I think we will see all of these people again. The music was done by someone, like I said, the Newton Brothers, who I have never heard of before. Okay, they're collectively known as film score producers. So I've never heard of them. I'm gonna see if I can find a link to their Spotify. I'll put it in this podcast. And I already mentioned the production companies: Platinum Dunes, Blumhouse Productions, Man of the Tree Productions, and Perfect World Pictures. Distributed by Universal. So it was released July 2nd, so I'm a little late getting to it. I had a few more films that I saw before then. 103 minutes, United States, English speaking. The budget, now this is what I thought was interesting. The budget for this was $18 million. And so far they've grossed $41.9 million. So the movie is doing really good, but box office wise. From what I'm hearing, it received mixed reviews from critics who praised its visual style and action scenes, but criticized the screenplay and underdeveloped characters. I didn't feel like the characters were underdeveloped. A sixth film, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So, being that the theme was Purge Forever, so what does Purge Forever mean? Well, the film, many of the main characters in this film were of Mexican descent. So if you will remember, during the Trump presidential run, and I was quite vocal about my lack of support for him. So during the Trump presidential run, the first one, not the one that resulted in all this chaos to the White House and the Capitol building and all of that. The first one, the scapegoat was Mexicans, and there was a lot of Now, I personally don't have any issues. I don't like that kind of talk. I don't have no issues with Latin Americans, and I guess I don't have any issues with Latin American. I don't have any issues of people of color, non-black people of color, I don't got no issues with them. And I think I don't have no issues with them because I've been black for the past 54 years. And I tend to be a little I get a little skirmish when I hear any older white male politician speaking against minorities, because I'm like, I say to black people all the time, whether you know it or not, when someone is anti-Mexican, at one point they're going to get around to being anti-you. Your turn is coming. If you hear a whole lot of talk against Asian Americans and immigrants, just know that at one point, you as a black person, your turn is coming. You wonder what is being said about black people when you're not around. And I really do feel that way. I hear remarks all the time about voting for certain people being love for your country. And I'm like, okay, but we're all immigrants. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, the only people that are actually Native Americans are Native Americans. Okay, so when I hear that type of talk, and unfortunately, because of much of the bigotry in this country, Trump, used Mexican Americans. He won his election on the backs of the very people on Mexican Americans. So I was not shocked to see a film that centered around the whole immigration issue. And it was excellent in that it, discussed the border walls, the people who were, of course, the purge is going on. The one thing the Mexicans were doing that I'm like, shoot, I'm on board with y'all. They went ahead and, found ways to come back to, they had safe havens and different other stuff like that. And so I like to give you enough information to entice you to go see the film, but not so much that I have spoilers. So I don't have any spoilers in this particular review. I try to stay away from having any spoilers in any of my reviews because I want you to go and see it and form your own opinions about what you're seeing. I don't want to give away too much of the film, because then you don't find it as interesting if I tell you too much. But it is centered around but I will tell you that it is centered around the whole immigration issue. And I'm like I said, I wasn't shocked, since that was the issue that got Trump in. And the different issues that come along with that. And mainly it was around the border walls. And I'm gonna do some praying about Texas, because this action was taking part in Texas, and as we can see here lately, Texas has been in the news for all kinds of different stuff now. So I think we need to pray about the state of Texas and what is going on. What is God doing there? Is God doing some things there? What, do we have a word concerning them? Like, is any of this prophetic or anything like that? So let me see here. Let me give you some more information. Like I said, I came away from it. Now, I kind of had a sense with this film. I'm like, are they trying to tell us that this is going to be the last in the franchise? Because I don't want it to be, based on what I saw tonight, I don't want it to be the last. And so I think it was originally intended to be the final installment. So it's the fifth film but from what I'm seeing, the information that I'm seeing, there is a sixth one in development. So those of you that are diehard Purge fans, they're going to make another one. Now, I was discussing with my mother, the Queen mother, on my way home. I said, this is how you do a sequel. This is how you do a movie in a franchise. You don't habituate your audience. Now, habituate, I always like to jokingly use terms that I've picked up in psychology studying it. When you habituate, that means you become immune to the stimulus. If a stimulus is being put out there, something that is meant to help groom you or groom a certain type of behavior or get a certain type of, train you to have a certain type of response. If you are exposed to it enough, you habituate, you become immune to the stimulus. You don't want to become immune to your favorite film franchise. You want to be like I was this evening, to the point where when you leave, you want more. You want that next film. Hello, you have reached the message line for Adam's Rib Media Ministry. If you would like to give me a shout out, recommend some topics for discussion, or give an opinion about a topic I've already discussed, either on my blogs or here on my podcast, leave a message and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.